Peter chapter 4 today. There are only 19 verses, and there is a wealth of information in here. Let's read some notes that I took here. This chapter is going to remind you to live in God's will. Not your own will, God's will. It's also going to remind you to love others deeply and use the gifts that God gave you to glorify Him and to serve others. The gifts that He gave us aren't for us to hang on to. Even in difficult seasons, we know that we can trust God because He is faithful and He will continue to do good in our lives. Now, I want to talk about the beginning here of chapter 4, and we're going to read it from the Induction Study Bible. It's a little bit easier than this one here. It says, "Therefore, since Christ has suffered in the flesh, arm yourselves also with the same purpose, because he who has suffered in the flesh has ceased from sin." Remember, Jesus was flesh. He walked among us. Other people back in those days tried to say, and still some try to say today, that, oh, He wasn't real. It was an apparition. It was a ghost. No, it was flesh and blood. So as to live the rest of time in the flesh, no longer for the lust of men, but for the will of God. So Peter is talking to this group of people in this letter that he wrote here. He's like, hey, it's time to stop living for your pleasures, for your lust, and start living for the will of God. He says, the time has already been sufficient. It's past for you to have carried out your desires and pursued your sensuality, your lust, drunkenness, carousels, not sure what carousels would be, drinking parties, and abominable idolatries. So he's telling these people that, hey, you've had enough time living like this. And here's the problem. Young people are like, oh, I just want to live my life. Oh, I want to sow my wild oats. I know the truth of God. I'm going to put them on the back burner and then I'll come back. And this letter says, no, don't let sin defeat you. Pick up your cross, follow Jesus, quit following the ways of the world. We've spent enough time living wrong. Stop living double-minded and live for Christ. That's your old life. That's your old life. Don't go back to it anymore. Live your new life. So basically that's what all this is about. And then until you get to the end down here, then it talks about your gifts, how you're going to use your gifts for the Lord. He has suffered. We partake in His suffering. We suffer for the gospel. The more you suffer, the more your reward is, but not suffering for your own sin. It talks here about your partakers of Christ's sufferings. Rejoice that the revelation of this glory, you may rejoice with exceeding joy. That in so much is also the word extent, which implies a measure. The more you suffer for Jesus, the more glory you'll receive of Jesus with Jesus.